Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of January. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office at the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me as always is Karla,
Yes.
Urban Planner Extraordinaire.
I'm back.
You're back
And
again.
better than ever. Okay. Yes.
Well, we had to get this Karla in here as soon as possible because you get to go on a fun vacation.
Yes.
So you're excited, I can see.
I'm thrilled.
So let's get into this awesome agenda that we have for January for the first meeting of 2026. Who would have
Let's do
thought?
it.
All right. First one we've got here, looks like we've got a rezone and a preliminary subdivision plan for some land up in Foundation Park North. So I think this land is just east of Marion and then south of the Crooks Renner exit up there, right?
Yes, so they are on step 2 and 3 of what we call the development process. They annexed in and now they're rezoning, and we're looking at how they're going to have infrastructure provided to their area. So that's what the request is, to go from that conservation to the industrial to add some more amenities to that industrial park.
And this, I think, was about 13.5 acres, and then their plan is just to kind of include it, I think, with the property that they own to the south, and then do one industrial development type thing, right?
Yes.
Great. Another area that we're growing to the northwest, it seems like, up there. Next, we've got, looks like some rezoning to single family and townhomes, and this is West 12th Street and West Ellis Road. I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of another extension of Cherry Lake Reserve subdivision, correct?
Yes, and then they actually did just update their exhibit, so it's all only single family over there. So
Okay, they're getting...
it'll match the existing developments.
And then
Pretty much exactly the same.
So this is located kind of on, I believe, Sioux Cup's old borrow pit and stuff like that. Will this second phase of Cherry Lake have kind of their own lake, I would call it, as well? Or do they kind of looking to use kind of the existing amenities and lake that's to the east there?
So this will provide more of that water feature amenity once they're done doing all the mining in there, and then it'll act as a pond like the Cherry Lake one.
Great. I know when they were originally doing this, we were kind of like, gosh, we don't think this is going to work. And I know it's, talk about being wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's blown up out there.
Highly coveted area.
Yeah, almost all the lots are sold, and that's why they're doing the next phase. So really has done well for single family out there. Next, it looks like we're going from some live work to a high density apartments. This is 57th Street and Veterans Parkway. I think it backs up to Veterans Parkway. Yep. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is the first project on 57th and Vets this month. This is the increase of density to the high density apartments. You're right, it's directly adjacent to Veterans Parkway, and I think that's why we can support this. The comprehensive plan calls out if there's a major arterial street or lots of traffic. That's probably where the high density should be, and then that'll start the transition to the lower densities.
So you used the word comprehensive plan, which is a great transition to the second segment, because
Yes.
we get to talk about the comprehensive plan. So yeah, that's live work just allows 3-story apartments, so this will allow them to essentially to go to unlimited size. So,
right.
Yep, which we like to see along those, especially Veterans Parkway, to kind of transition. So another good use there. Next, we got one of your favorite topics, a new billboard, right?
Yes. Correct?
Or off-premise sign?
This off-premises sign or billboard is located on I-229 in Benson and that intersection. This is a conditional use permit to increase the size from 288. The application right now is at about 623 square feet that's requested. One side will be digital and the other side will be static.
And then typically on 229 is where we talked, I mean, you said it was a conditional use permit, so they would be allowed to do 288 square feet without any approvals from a board.
Yes.
But to go up higher than that, then they need approval from the Planning Commission. And typically, when it's on the interstates and stuff, we supported those. Is that kind of correct? Yep.
Yeah. And with I-229, we recognize the rolling topography and how many features it has and drainage ponds. So the limit of billboards is 21, and this would be number 16 there. So
all right.
There'd be.
So we still got a couple more, but
Yes.
it's getting closer to stopping any more
Maxed
billboards.
out.
Yeah. All right. Next, we've got, this is kind of exciting. Initial development plan amendment for 57th Veterans, but this would be the northeast corner.
Yes.
And I know they started construction, but just a really cool Good Samaritan project out there.
Yeah, I think this is where I would want to land in my next generation of life.
Yeah, you got a long time yet, so.
So It is all things 55 plus community. They've got all the amenities. They've got the support services, the townhome, the twin home apartments for whatever status that you might need with in that regard. This is just adding the recreation space, pickleball courts, and then some changes in their signage plan. So it's not changing too much from the existing.
Yeah, just kind of updating as they continue to go along further. But I think this is one of the great ones to look at, and down the line is going to be kind of a really cool development out there, really nice for our seniors, and also have the Sanford and Lewis right there. So it's really great project. And then we talked a little bit about it, but it looks like we just had that preliminary plan that goes along with Cherry Lake. So not maybe a lot of items, but kind of some big development items, some big pieces of property. So good January Planning Commission.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Great. Thanks, Karla. And stay tuned. After the break, we're going to have Fletcher with the Planning Department come back and talk about the 2050 Comprehensive Plan update, talk about a little bit about where they are in the process, and then the next steps for its approval here in Q1 of 2026. So stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Brent, and I'm a housing specialist for the city of Sioux Falls, and I'm out here with Kelly, property maintenance manager for the city. We're out here on this snowy day, and we're here to talk about sidewalks. So Kelly, why do we need to clean the sidewalks?
Well, many people use the sidewalks for transportation, kids getting to school. You know, some people, elderly, disabled, or for whatever reason, they go to grocery stores or to work, they need a safe place to travel as well.
So we use about 2 feet of space. Do we only need to do the scoop it path, or do we have to go side to side?
Go the entire width of the sidewalk, edge to edge, and that way it's, ADA accessible for those in wheelchairs.
Okay. Today, I don't know if we're going to get 2 inches of snow, but do we have to wait till 2 inches, or do you have to start scooping right away?
No, you have to clear your sidewalk after any snow or ice event, and that's, within 48 hours after that event, we need that cleared off.
Well, thanks, Kelly. Well, if you're out scooping your snow and you see that your neighbor's house needs sidewalks scooped as well, do the neighborly thing and help your neighbor out.
If you'd like to see if one of our city programs can help you out, call 367-8180 or check us out online at siouxfalls.org.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of January. Joining me now is Fletcher Lacock with the Planning and Development Services Department. Thanks a lot for being on the show this month. I know we've had you probably in 2025 at some point talking kind of about the same project, the SHAPE Sioux Falls 2050 Comprehensive Plan, but you're finishing it up. We're getting close to the end.
Oh yeah, it's exciting times.
Yeah, so we wanted to have you back on to talk a little bit about that and maybe the timelines and things about when we're actually going to get it approved through the bodies. So
it's been a 3-phase process. We finished off our public engagement, and then we've been going back out with our trends and recommendations to the public, and now we're putting together that final draft and taking it through our advisory committee, our joint jurisdiction planning commissions, and our partners in the counties. And then our next steps are going to be going to planning commission and then city council for approval.
Yeah, and I think that's good. You talked a little bit about that because you've already, and just correct me if I'm wrong, you've went to the Lincoln County Planning Commission, and then also some of their county commissioners attended. And then have you gone to the Minnehaha County Planning Commission?
Yes, it's been a busy week for me. Okay. I just did that yesterday, and then we have another presentation later this afternoon. So we're really focused on getting it to the finish line, and February 10th is when our final approval is due.
And I think that's, like I said, that's great that we incorporate and work with our other counties because we do have joint jurisdiction. We are in 2 counties, Lincoln and Minnehaha, and they're kind of a big step for us to get approvals through them, or at least let them provide input when we grow into those specific counties.
Right, so this has been a great process where we're taking a snapshot in 2025, looking out 25 years into the future and trying to figure out where are we going to grow, what land uses are going to be there, how's the transportation network, and everything going to be impacted. And so what we really wanted to hear from the public was what are the trends and recommendations that they have that are going to impact their lives.
What would you say, and with some of those that we've kind of, like you said, are in the plan now, and all of the chapters are, I would call it a final draft. The only thing that maybe is left is some little edits here and there, nothing major, obviously, if we catch some words or something that maybe is wrong. What were some of the trends that maybe surprised you a little bit?
I don't know that it was not surprising, but it was good to hear that people's concerns are housing and transportation and resiliency and conservation, because those are the big three that have always been important. What we were happy about is that people didn't have anything new that was coming out of nowhere. And so the good news with that is when people don't have anything to complain about, we all just complain about the traffic. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I know our consultant that we use at Confluence, who's based out of Des Moines, when he would come here and he would see a lot of the comments and the trends and the recommendations on traffic, and he'd be like, hey, you guys don't have traffic bad here at all, but I guess it's in perspective of where you live and different things like that. One of the big things that I think I'm excited for, and possibly the entire planning department, is kind of where you talked about these neighborhood plans and area plans. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
So in the past, the comprehensive plan identified corridor plans as the way that we plan for the city. And so that's where we would take a stretch of Minnesota and look at the land uses along that stretch. The new plan looks at sub areas. So the comprehensive plan is that big overall look in the city, and then we've broken down the city into 12 different segments, and we're going to do a more in-depth review of those sub areas, because the larger comprehensive plan, that larger vision of the city, doesn't always impact in the same way in different parts of the city. So there are going to be different needs in the northwest than the southeast. So to be able to take a more in-depth look at that, and that's how we're going to continue to implement the plan, so it doesn't just gather dust on the shelf.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there. Something that's maybe good for 85th and Western isn't good for 12th and Minnesota, right? It's a big different thing. So I think those are very exciting. And then one of the things that I think the planning department can really coordinate on is with those area plans is working with parks and streets and lighting and all that different stuff, and really being able to do projects all together in a specific area and really work with those neighborhoods on what do you want to see here? Is it an outdoor pool, indoor pool? Is it more bike trails? Is it new streets and all that different kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a great attitude to have, that one Sioux Falls way of addressing issues in the city, and that's what we're hoping to continue to do.
And I think, so one of the things that I notice are, and we use a lot, obviously, from a current planning perspective when we do developments, is the future land use map. And it looks somewhat similar, but you have added maybe another one or two different, what we call type of nodes or different future land uses. Can you talk about maybe a little bit about one of the ones that you've added?
Sure. So one of the land uses we added along arterial streets, which is your higher traffic streets, is a line called moderate density residential. And what it says is that along those higher density streets like Veterans Parkway, that you want to see apartments close up to the street. Now, we're not requiring that apartments be there, but it's saying that this is, if we want higher density residential, that's where it should be located. And if we're going to have lower density residential, then it needs to be buffered so that there's that space for families to have backyards that aren't right up against the street.
Yeah, and I think that's another way, like you just talked about, to get a little bit more defined on what we want to see on those. I know the old plan just had residential. Well, like you said, we don't necessarily want to see 5-acre lots up against Veterans Parkway. We want to see that higher density to kind of block that traffic sound and then transition to the lower density residential. One of the other things I think is great on that future land use map is kind of your Minnesota Avenue corridors and 12th Street to kind of talk a little bit more about higher density. So you kind of added those in and really to support higher density. Talk a little bit about that.
So the Midtown mixed use corridors, and that's where we're promoting our new zoning district, which we've had for a couple of years, but we're trying to promote it along arterial or transit corridors where we have the bus, where there's a lot of traffic, where we can get more density, increase the ridership on our buses, and really just push density in developed areas where we already have the infrastructure in place.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think we've talked about for a couple of years is just we see all these underutilized parking lots. We need to get more density on those high corridors or
Absolutely.
high traffic corridors. So that's another great addition to the plan. Anything else in there that you can say is kind of not a big change, but something that you're excited about that for the future?
The excitement is those sub-area plans. So we're in the process of getting organizing that process for our next year. It'll be somewhat like a downtown plan, only different areas. What's exciting for our community is that over the next 25 years, we're going to grow by 2 rapid cities, and we're going to need 78,000 housing units. And there's limited infrastructure and resources, but that's the great thing of planning ahead is that we can see where we're going to grow and how and promote more density and where needed and have a goal to reach. So.
Yeah, and I think you talked about it there is, I think, what is it, like 397,000 is projected population just in Sioux Falls in 2050. So that's quite a increase in population. And like you talked about, we got a plan for all that stuff. So maybe give the viewers here just your next steps and projected timelines for approval.
Yeah, so we're going to make it through the holidays, and then we'll be at the Planning Commission briefing on January 6th with City Council informational on the same day, and then Planning Commission on January 7th, and they'll make a recommendation to the City Council in February, and then we'll continue to meet with our joint jurisdiction planning commissions and Lincoln County and Minnehaha County commissioners to get final approval, hopefully by the end of April.
And then we'll get to throw away the old plan and get the new plan, right?
Absolutely.
And then, plans, maybe real quick, talk about, so we'll go to 2050, and then we typically like to do, I wouldn't say as big of an overhaul as we've done with this one, but every 5 years or so, you're looking to kind of do some minor changes to the comp plan. Is that kind of the plan? Or
So every year we update what we call our tier maps, which show where the growth is, and then hopefully in 5 years we'll be doing another either the plan's working well and we just need to do some minor updates, or we'll be looking at how do we incorporate those sub-area plans into a new comprehensive plan format moving forward.
Yeah, and then once that's approved, I think it's great too, then us in current planning can actually look at our Shape Places zoning ordinance and see if there's things that we need to update or change in that ordinance based on the approved comprehensive plan. So that'll be exciting to kind of go through that. Maybe add some new zoning districts or some new parking requirements or anything new that kind of corresponds to what you found that the community wanted in the Shape Sioux Falls comprehensive plan. So
Yeah.
great. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Fletcher. So I appreciate you giving us an update, and it's going to be exciting to get that project completed by Q1 of 2026.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thanks for joining us for planning preview for the month of January. The meeting this month is on January 7th at 6 p.m. at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we do allow public input on any of the items we talked about today. And also, we do have that 5-minute comment period at the end of the agenda to talk anything planning related. Thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.